Wednesday morning, and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I'm your host, Margie Curry, and today's session is with yoga instructor Becca Impello. Folks, since we want to remind you that AARP is empowering people to change how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization with more than 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate on their behalf, all of them, without regard to politics. Since the pandemic began, AARP has continued to provide opportunities for people to stay engaged in their home. Mindful Movement provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your home. Becca, are you there?
I'm here, Margie. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Tell us about what we're going to be doing today. You know, I got this turkey roll right around the middle today.
Oh, do you? Well, don't worry too much about that. We're going to do some movement today, though, for sure. Some good movement to get our bodies warmed up and stretch and move those places that we maybe don't get to every day. And then I have a special thing planned for us at the end. We're going to do just a little short meditation, and we're going to be focusing on giving ourselves and others grace at this time of the year when everything can be a little bit stressful and hectic. Have you been feeling any pressure to get everything ready for the holidays?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to just do a little meditation that'll just remind us that, it's okay to be kind and gentle to yourself as well as others during this really busy time of year. So that's what I've got planned for us today.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Folks, remember that before you begin any exercise program or routine, you should consult with your physician to be sure it's safe to participate. And at the end of the program today, we have a survey, and we would love to hear your comments on what we're doing here at AARP Alabama and with Becca. So right now, we're going to say, take it away, Becca. Let's get started.
Okay, great, Margie. Yeah, just remember, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to just put those in the chat as we go along. Questions that maybe I can answer at the end about the practice or about yoga, or even questions, that might be more relevant for AARP of Alabama and the programming that they bring you. So today we're going to need a chair possibly. So we're going to sit and do a little warm up, and then we'll do a sequence using either the chair or you can get down on the floor. So it's going to be one of those days where I show you both options and you get to pick what works best for you. If you don't want to get all the way down onto the floor, well, then have a good sturdy chair, kitchen chair, dining room table chair that you can use to do the practice with. And if you feel great getting down onto your ground, you can sit on the floor to start with, and you can do the practice from the floor if you want to. All right, so let's take a comfortable seat. And let's just take a few clearing breaths. We'll use our arms for this today just to go ahead and get some things moving right away. So when you're ready, take a big breath in and sweep the arms out to the sides. And exhale out of the mouth. And just let the hands come down in front of the body towards the lap. Let's do that again. Big breath in. One more time like that. And then just pause with your hands either on your lap or on your belly. You can close your eyes if you want. You're just going to take a few moments to just try to breathe deep into your belly. Just allow your abdomen to move out and back in as you breathe in. The belly goes out as you breathe out. The belly draws back in. So just do a few more of those deep belly breaths. See how it feels. 2 more. One more. Good. And then just shake out those arms, circle out the wrists. Remember, folks, any movements that we're making today, you should be listening in to see if it feels right for your own body. Pretty much everything can be changed, modified, made smaller, made bigger, made slower, whatever it is that you need to make it work for you. All right. Now let's do a few shoulder rolls. Like I said, we're just going to do a couple warm-up movements here seated, and then we're going to get up and move a little more with some sun salutation variations using either the chair if you want or getting down to the floor. All right. Shoulders stay back and down this next time, and give your head a little turn side to side. Notice how you feel through that neck area. We're going to make a couple of circles for the neck now. So you make them as big as feels right for you. Next time you turn your head to the right, drop your chin down and slowly bring it across the chest, over to the other shoulder, up over the top very gently, and make that circle again. And then when you get to that other shoulder, reverse direction, go the other way. Gently over the top, and one more time, circle. Good. All right. Now let's bring the hands up to the heart, interlace those fingers, and just gently stretch forward. So you can be gentle on these knuckles if they're stiff or tight, or if it feels good to stretch those hands, really press forward a little more firmly. And then slowly take those arms overhead, just as high as you're comfortable going. If your shoulders tell you to stop, you can stop. Reach up nice and tall, and then drop one hand down and stretch over. You can put your hand on the floor. If you're sitting on the ground, you can hold onto your chair if not. And then bring both arms back up, reach up nice and tall, and let's drop to the other side, reaching up and over with one arm. And then back up to center. Let those arms drop to your sides. And then we'll take a little twist. So sit up tall, turn in one direction, bring in the arm across to the opposite knee or thigh, and turn that head back with the rest of your body. Take another deep breath in. And then unwind it back to the front. Deep breath in, sit tall, exhale, and twist the other direction. Bring that hand across to the knee just to give you a little support, and it's going to give you a little bit of leverage. So be gentle. Be careful with that pushing on the hand. It can feel nice, but you don't want to be too forceful. Head can keep on turning. See how that neck feels? And then bring it back to the center. Let's loosen up the legs a little bit. Take one leg forward. So if you're sitting on the ground, just stretch that leg out and just see if you can move that foot, point and flex it back and forth. Maybe give that ankle a circle or two. And then do the other leg. Just stretch it somewhere out in front of you. Point and flex it a few times. Give it a couple circles. And then let's come on up. Now, if you're down on the floor, you're going to stay close to the floor and you're going to get in hands and knees on the ground. All right. If you're using a chair and you want to stay upright, clear of the floor, you're going to get positioned so that you can place your hands into the seat of the chair. So we're all essentially going to be in this sort of tabletop position with our spine roughly parallel to the ground. So this is the position for the use of the chair. If you're down on the floor, you're in hands and knees. Feel free to have some cushion underneath those kneecaps. All right, and then we're all going to make our rounded spine, dropping the chin towards the chest, tuck in the tail, and then flatten it out and take the tailbone up somewhat and the chin and the chest up a little bit, and then go back and forth. Okay, once you get the gist of this movement, see if you can take it with your breathing pattern so that you're exhaling as you get nice and round, and you're inhaling as you take it to that flatter back, or maybe even you've got a bit of a back bend in your spine. Let's do 3 more with the breathing. Inhale when you lift your chest. Exhale as you round it up. Good. All right, now just to get us a little more warmed up before our sun salutations, we're all going to come to that flat place, that neutral place for tabletop. Take one leg back behind you. All right, so if you're down on the ground, that foot could touch the floor, or you could lift it up. Okay, all right, hold that there for a moment. See how you feel. Get steady. And then let's take the opposite arm and reach it forward. All right, so opposite arm and leg stretching out. We're starting to wake up our shoulders, our hips, our back muscles. One more breath here. And then bring it down. That hand and that knee or foot come back down. Go ahead and round it up into that cat shape. Flatten it out. Come back to that neutral. Okay, we're going to do the other side. I'm going to drop down to the floor just to show that version. All right, so switch to that other leg. Take that leg back behind you, maybe up in the air, maybe touch the ground. When you're ready, opposite arm lifts as well. Good, we're holding there another 2 breaths. Good, and then drop it down. Now, if you're down on the ground, you're gonna take either a child's pose, keep your knees on the ground and press your hips back, or a downward dog, tuck your toes under, lift your knees up and press back. If you're in the chair, you're doing essentially the same thing, but you need to walk your feet back a bit. And then again, push those hips back. You can have knees that are a bit more bent or knees that are a bit more straight, depending on how it feels to you. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Good. Now we're all going to shift into a plank position. So here in the chair, it's a simple shift of the weight until you get your body in a straight line and your shoulders roughly over the seat of the chair. If you're down on the floor, it looks much the same. You might need to walk those hands forward or walk your legs back. You can be on your knees or you can be on your toes. Let's hold that plank for another breath or 2. All right, and then we're all going to push back into either our downward dog or our child's pose. If you're on the ground, you can keep those knees on the floor. All right, now just a few rounds back and forth. Inhale and shift to your plank. Exhale, push it back to that downward dog or child's pose. Inhale, shift to plank. Exhale, shift to downward dog. 2 more times, shift to plank. And shift to dog. Last one. And stay here in this downward dog. Take 2 or 3 more breaths. Feel free to take a nice deep breath in and a sigh out of the mouth if you like. So walk it in. If you're up on the chair, walk it in and stand up. If you're down on the ground, go ahead and come to hands and knees and then come all the way up to standing. All right, so we're all going to start this next sequence in standing. So you're still going to have the choice to go to your chair when you come forward or to go all the way to the floor when you come forward. I'm going to show the first round using the chair, okay? But I'll tell you the things that you could do if you want to take it to the floor. All right, so these are some sun salutation. Great way to move the whole body and just generally get some warmth going. So hands at the heart. Stand tall and firm. Push into those heels. Lift up through the chest. Good. Take 1 more breath here. Sorry, it was time for my ponytail. All right, reach the arms up. And then you're going to fold forward. Make sure you bend your knees. You bend your hips. You can take it to the chair. You can take it all the way to the floor. Even if you're using the chair, maybe this fold feels good to take it down to the ground. Good. Take 1 more breath here. Now we're going to lift part way, or for some folks it might be halfway back up. This could be hands on the knees or hands on the chair. Flatten back into that tabletop back. And then fold it back in. All right, now hands on the chair or fingertips on the floor. We're going to step back with the right leg. And that left leg is either right between the hands on the floor or right there close to the chair. All right, so this is our lunge position. You might be on the ball of the back foot. Okay, you might have that foot in a little closer if you're on the chair, in which case your heel could be down. If you're on the floor version of this, you could put your knee down on the ground if you want to. Push to that front foot and push into the hands to get a little lift of the chest. Let's take 1 more breath here. And then we're all stepping back to a plank position. So we've already practiced that, right? So you kind of know what that looks like, feels like. So in your plank, you can be on the knees if you're down on the ground. Take more breath. And then we're pushing back to a downward facing dog. Or on the floor, this could be a child's pose. The knees could be down on the ground. Let's take 3 breaths here. Good. Now we're coming forward with that right foot. All right. So from hands and knees, you can step it right between your hands, or you could come, to hands and knees first and then bring that foot forward. All right. Adjusting that back leg if you want it further in or further back. Push into the front foot, push into the chair, lift that chest. Good. One more breath here. And then go ahead and bring that back leg towards the front leg. You might need to move the front leg back to meet that back leg so that they're even. Lift up to that half back. This could be fingers on your shins or your knees or fingers on the chair. And then we'll fold it in. So we're all sort of back together now, folding to the chair or folding to the floor. And then we make our rise back up to standing tall. We sit back into the heels. So we're in a squat position. Bring the arms up. Feel free to keep them at the heart, out in front of the chest or overhead. And then slowly rise all the way up tall. And if you want, you could take a gentle back bend, stretching up at the top before bringing the hands to the heart. All right, let's pause for a breath. We're going to do that at least one more time. I think we've got time for 2 more rounds. So I'm going to do this round to the floor just so everyone can kind of see both versions. You stick with the chair if that's where you were working, and I'll give you those reminders for how to do it there. So mountain pose, hands at the heart, stand tall. Big breath in, reach up. Make sure those knees soften as you fold it down. Hands to the chair or drop down to the floor. We're going to lift halfway back up. Hands to the knees or the shins or to the chair. Flatten the back. And then fold it back down. Knees can be soft. Hands on the chair or hands to the floor. Let's take the left leg back first this time. All right. So remember, if you're down on the floor, you might drop that knee to the ground, okay, at any time. Now I'm going to give you the option, everybody, the option to come up off of your hands. So you might bring those hands off the floor, off the chair, and bring them to the heart, or bring them overhead, or anywhere in between. If this gets a little tricky for you down on the ground, put that knee on the floor. All right, one more breath. And then we're bringing those hands back down if they were up, and we're stepping back into our plank. All right, so step that other leg back. Your hands are in the chair if you're using it, and your body's in that nice line, nice and firm. Knees can be down if you're here on the ground. One more breath. All right, and then we push it back into a downward dog. So hips press back. Reposition the feet if needed. Soften the knees if needed. Remember, you have a choice if you're close to the ground to do a child's pose. So this is where the knees stay down and you get just a bit more folded up in that lower body. One more breath. Now we need to take our lunge to the other side. So it's the left foot forward. It might be possible if you're on the ground to step right into it or drop to those knees, bring that foot forward, and then come into that lunge. Same option here to rise up, to bring the hands up. You can bring them to the heart or overhead or anywhere in between. All right, one more breath. Now we come to our step forward. So that back leg comes forward and you fold either to the chair or to the floor again. Knees are soft. Lift up that halfway up position. Bring the hands up and then folding it back down. And then sit back into those heels. We rise up through what's called chair pose. Looks like a squat or looks like you're sitting back in an imaginary chair. And then press through those feet when you're ready and rise all the way tall, maybe with that gentle back bend at the top. And then hands to the heart. Pause, take a breath. Notice how you're feeling. I'm certainly feeling a little bit warmer. I was pretty chilly when we started, but my blood is definitely flowing now. All right, we're going to do one more round of that same routine. All right, I'm going to go back to using the chair, but I'll call out both sets of instructions. So here we go. Stand tall, breathe in and out, and then breathe in and reach the arms up. Fold forward and down. And then half back or half lift, hands on the chair or on the shins or the knees, lift up. And then fold it back down. Right foot is going to step back. If you're using the chair, you may have to step that left foot forward as well. Fingertips on the floor or on the chair, or feel free to come on up if you want. Hands at the heart, maybe overhead. There's lots of places in between as well that you could explore. Good. One more breath here. All right, and then you bring your hands back down to the floor or to the chair and step back into the plank pose. Firm up those legs. Keep the belly in. Push strong with those arms. Good. Give it 2 more breaths. Good. And then downward facing dog. So let those hips push back, adjust the feet. Remember your child's pose option if you're on the ground. 2 more deep breaths. And then we have our lunge to do on the other side. So it's going to be the right foot that comes forward. You can step right from downward dog if you're at the chair or on the floor perhaps, or go to hands and knees on the ground first and get that foot forward. And then you can choose to come off of those hands. Take them to whatever position works for you. If you're feeling a little bit tired, maybe keep those hands at the heart. All right, and then release the arms, hands, come back down to the chair or to the floor. And then we're stepping it forward. We're coming all the way back into our forward fold. So feet are side by side, a little bit apart. And you just fold down either into the chair or hands towards the floor. Lift back up halfway, just this little preparatory lift. And then fold it back in. And then here comes our exit. So sitting back into the heel, sitting into that squat to our chair pose, our imaginary chair pose. Arms can reach forward or up, or feel free to keep them closer to the body. All right, next breath in takes us all the way up tall. Reach up. And then exhale, bring the hands to the heart. And I want you just to pause here. Just take notice of how your body's feeling. Maybe you can notice your heartbeat a little bit elevated, a little faster. Maybe you feel the little prickly sensations in your muscles from the work that they've been doing. Maybe you feel little prickly sensations on your skin if it's starting to warm up. Maybe you feel the effects of taking all those deep breaths. All right, now, for our last section, you can either lie down on the floor on your back, or you can sit down in your chair. So you got a choice to make there. Do you want to get down on the floor? Make sure you stay warm. Or do you want to stay, upright, sit in any comfortable seat? Okay. All right, I'm going to stay in the chair. It makes my delivery to the screen a little bit clearer, I believe. And we're just going to do a little stretch for the hips before we do our meditation at the end. So if you're lying down, it's the same thing. We're all going to cross one ankle to the opposite knee. All right. Now, if it's hard to get your foot all the way to that knee in the chair, know that you could take the leg a little more forward. That brings the knee down, so it's not quite so high. It might be a little bit easier to cross, okay? If it's still not so great, you can do your leg on the floor with a little bit of turnout, or up on a stool or a box or some kind if you have it handy. So there's some ways to modify this if you need to. Sit up tall if you're in the chair. If you're lying down, you've got that leg crossed. All right. And then you got two choices if you want to go a little further. Okay, sit tall if you're in the chair and lean over those legs. If you're lying down, you're going to pull the legs in closer to your chest. So you would pick up that foot that's on the floor and hold the back of that thigh, bringing it a little closer. Let's take 2 or 3 more breaths here. We're slowing things down, not moving quite as much, not using quite as much muscle activity. Good, and then release that side, just uncross it and pause. Maybe shake out or turn the head a little bit. And then let's do the other side. So cross the other ankle to the knee, or make one of those modified positions that I mentioned, crossing that foot to a stool or a box, or even on the ground, but trying to get some turning out so you get a little bit of loosening up for your hip. And then you have the choice on the ground to bring everything in a little closer, hold the back of that other thigh, or if you're sitting in the chair, lean into it a bit. And then focus on taking some slower, longer breaths. Good. And then let's release and uncross. And just get as supported and comfortable in your position as you can. We're going to close with just a simple mantra meditation. Now, mantra meditation is where I'm going to suggest a simple affirmation, really. It's an affirmation meditation. So I'm going to suggest a simple phrase that hopefully will be encouraging and uplifting to you. And during this time of year in December, things can get pretty hectic, right? It's the end of the year. There's a lot to do for work and year end. It's the holidays, and there's a lot to do just to get things ready, to go shopping, to cook, to visit people. Maybe you've got family visiting, or you want to see family, or you're missing some family that is no longer with you in order to celebrate. So there's just a lot going on at the holidays. All of our schedules are different. There's a lot of pressure too to sort of make things perfect, right? And to do all the things. And it can get overwhelming. So we're going to focus in this little moment here on giving yourself grace. So you can close your eyes if you'd like. Just take a deep breath in and say to yourself in your head, or out loud if you want, I give myself grace. I do not have to be perfect. I am doing the best that I can, and it is enough. Let's say those again. I will give myself grace. I do not have to be perfect. I am doing the best that I can, and it is enough. I might encourage you to extend those same affirmations to others around you. You can even say it to yourself right now. I will give others around me grace. My friends and loved ones and coworkers do not have to be perfect. They are all doing the best that they can, and it will be enough. So just take another couple breaths. If you'd like, you can rest a hand on the heart. Sometimes this just helps us to really take those affirmations in a little bit more, symbolically or specifically, perhaps. And just, or maybe repeat those mantras again, or just repeat the simple phrase, grace. One more breath in, let it out. Open the eyes if they're closed. Bring the hands together at the heart. And we're going to give AARP plenty of grace as well. AARP of Alabama has been great this year, helping us to stay connected and stay active. And even though things aren't always perfect for anybody, and maybe including them, they are also doing the best that they can and delivering great services. So I'm grateful for all of you for joining me, and always grateful for AARP of Alabama. Don't forget to do the survey for us if you will.
Thank you so much, Becca. And you're right. Thank you to AARP for bringing you to us. That was a very challenging session that you gave us today. Well, we thank you very much. And we hope that everyone will take a chance to look at that survey. And right now we have a quick commercial about our upcoming events. And we look forward to you back on Tuesdays with Mindful Movements. And again, thank you, Becca.
You're welcome, Margie. Have a great day.
You too.